friends, my name is Katherine, and today I'm doing my autumn TBR. So I know at the beginning of this year I stated that a new goal of mine was to do away with TBRs, but I found that TBRs are slightly helpful for me. Now just hear me out. One of the big issues I had with TBRs in the past was I'm very much a mood reader. I don't like to have a very strict list of books that I absolutely have to read, but I've noticed that since doing away with TBRs, I've been reading more from the library and I've been reading more new purchases as I'm getting them, and the books that have been sitting on my shelves for a while have been neglected. So I had to find a happy medium between no TBR and a very strict monthly TBR, and I felt that seasonal TBRs might be very beneficial to me. I know that since I went to seasonal book hauls, I've been more careful about what I'm purchasing and really trying to think out my purchases for the span of a 3-month period, and that has really helped me. So I thought maybe if I switched to a seasonal TBR, that would also help me read more from my shelves and also leave me room to read from the library and read new books that I pick up along the way. But I have picked out 6 books that I really want to make a priority for myself this autumn. Most of them have a very autumn-like theme to them or feel, in my personal opinion, so many of them made the list for that reason, and then some of them made the list because they've been on my shelves for a while and I just really needed to read them and have been wanting to. So I'll go ahead and start with one of my newer purchases that I am very excited about, and that is The Bronze Key by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. This is the 3rd book in the Magisterium series. I have read the first book, The Iron Trial, and the second book, The Copper Gauntlet, and absolutely loved them. They are so fantastic. It is just top-notch middle grade fantasy, and if you really want a fantastic middle grade fantasy, I definitely recommend picking up that book or that book series, and it's just really incredible. The first book actually made the honor roll for disability in Kids Lit, which I will leave a link to in the down bar below because it's a really great resource if you're looking for great representation of disability in YA literature. And I am just so excited to continue on with this series. The next book that I'd like to get to is The Walls Around Us by Nova Ren Suma. This is a book that I don't know an awful lot about, but it is a recent purchase for me, and I have heard that it's a little bit of a psychological thriller, and that just kind of catches my eye in the fall. Something about just digging down into a psychological thriller on my couch with a good cup of tea and like autumnal weather just going on outside just really makes me happy and makes me just feel like everything is right in my life. So I decided to throw this one on my TBR, and I definitely plan on jumping to that one on a nice cool Saturday. It's a little bit of a shorter book, so I think I really could get to it in one day and it'll just be fantastic reading. At least I hope so. The next book that I'm going to be picking up is Seraphina and the Twisted Staff. This is the 2nd book in this series by Robert Beatty, and I read the first one and really enjoyed it, and I think that the second one is going to be just as fantastic. It follows a main character named Seraphina, and she lives on the Biltmore estate in Asheville, North Carolina, which I am familiar with because I live close to that area. It's just so cool to see a setting that you're so familiar with in this really beautifully written book. I don't know, for me it personally adds a lot of magic, and I'm just excited to follow up on this series and see if I enjoy the second book as much as I enjoyed the first book. I will also be getting to We Love You, Charlie Freeman by Kaitlyn Greenidge. I have heard fantastic things about this book. This is the only adult book that I have on my TBR. If you didn't know before, I'm very much a YA reader, but this is one that I've heard so many good things about, and I've heard that it has a really great discussion around race, all the way from microaggressions to overt racism, and I think that's so important to confront, especially when you live in a white privileged world and you yourself are white and hold that privilege. You need to be able to read outside of your experiences and try to address that privilege and see what you can do to dismantle the same system that kind of set up that privilege for you. So I'm looking forward to reading this book and really analyzing it. I know that this is a book that I am really going to pour myself into and take time to understand and comprehend what is being said. The next book that I would like to pick up, and I think this is going to be an October read for me, that is Conversion by Katherine Howe. And I believe this is a retelling of the Salem witch trials, but in a modern day setting. I'm very excited to get to this one. This particular book has been on my shelf for at least 2 years. My husband got it for me for Valentine's Day like 2 years ago. And I really need to get to it, and it just seemed like the perfect October book to read just because witches and the Salem witch trials, and I just think that'll be so fun to get to. And another book that has been sitting on my shelf and has been neglected way too long is Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. This is a graphic novel, and I think there are 4 or 5 short graphic novel stories set within this book, and they are all really spooky, and I've heard really great things about this. I think I might actually just read this particular one on Halloween so I can get all the Halloween feels. I will be staying in for Halloween and handing out candy to the 2 children that live in my neighborhood, so I will need a good graphic novel to snuggle into that night. Anyway, that has been it for my autumn TBR. These are the books that I'm setting priority for me to pick up. I will obviously be reading other books that I'll grab from my library or new purchases, and possibly even grabbing some books off of my own shelves that I just need to get to. I am excited to try out this method and see if I can read some more of my own books, because I have to be honest, I have a lot of unread books because I love buying books and just having them there for when I feel like reading them. So I have many unread books. I have many read books, but I have probably just as many unread books lying around. So I'm excited to kind of cut that number down a little bit. I will leave links in the down bar below for you guys to check out my other social media sites, and I have started a Litsy profile, so if you guys want to follow me there, I'll leave that in the down bar below as well, and I'm hopefully going to be doing some book reviews, just shorter ones on there. So if you want to know my thoughts before my monthly wrap-ups, that would be a good place to check it out. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay weird.